Happy Tuesday night, folks. Welcome to the Heroes Media Group Network. It's the TPO Doc Talk coming to you live tonight. We've got a very special guest coming back to the show here to join us. I've known this cat for a long time, and he was very instrumental in helping see my silly butt through the beginning stages when I was first getting out there and getting rolling. Before we get going here, want to make sure we pay the bills, pay our due respects. TPO Doc Talk podcast being brought to you by the Romans Warrior Foundation, as always. Go check them out at romanswarriorfoundation.org. Helping is healing. Tell you what, man, if you got a special event going on in your town or somewhere in the, close to you there, and you guys want to take that deal to the next level, hit up the Romans Warrior Foundation and check out the Global War on Terror's Wall of Remembrance. This thing will change a community, man. It is this thing brings healing everywhere it goes, and that is its purpose. Is to we tag on with other big festivals that are going on in town celebrations there, and we bring this only. We are the only mobile monument that travels around the country that is dedicated to the entire Global War on Terror era, which is 1983 to 2021. Yeah, man, we've got bookings available. We got time slots available. We'd love to bring the GWAT wall into your neck of the woods there and definitely let it bring its healing. All right, man. So that's that. We've got that stuff handled. This guy's on a time crunch here right now. So let's go ahead and get him in here without further ado. Let's go ahead and bring in Mr. Matt Johnson. Matt, how the heck are you, sir?
You know, that like intro music you got jamming out there, Gene, is
right?
Like, I mean, I was doing push-ups here as you were playing that, and I'm thinking we should get back into college football days and all that good stuff. So, no, that's awesome, man. Hey, good to see you, buddy.
I always feel like, after it's done and then I'm like, hey, how are you guys? I always feel like I'm like anticlimactic. I need to fade the music or something maybe. I don't know.
It gets you jacked up. It's pretty awesome.
Good stuff. Well, so man, you've been a busy cat. And like I said at the very beginning of this, I've never actually had a chance to tell you that one-on-one, but dude, 7 years ago, something like that, when I first got a chance to start working with you, when Clam and Blackfish, when they bought All Terrain Tackle, that's when I was introduced to you.
Yeah.
And dude, you were instrumental in showing and leading the way and showing what a professional in this in the outdoor industry should look like, how they should be conducting. And the way you guys handled your pro staff to me was always that's what I measured other companies against. And I'll be honest with you, not many could even get close to the way you managed, the pro team there. Dude, I met so many pros. Adrian Avina, Chad Grigsby, Austin Felix, met all those cats at the building there, when you having those dinners for all of us before we go out fishing the next day.
Well, you know what, Gene, you put a nice meal in somebody's belly. You can encourage them to think all kinds of great ways. So, no, all joking aside, it's a labor of love for not just us on this side of the fence, but also our pro staff, right? So I, as you know, and a lot of your listeners know, I'm no longer managing the pro staff at All Terrain and Blackfish and Clam. I've gone on my own with the biggest blessing from those brands. They are near and dear to my heart. My pro staff management days are going to be something that I don't know if I can replace them. I don't. It's not, with me going off on my own as a promoter and a guide, it's zero intention to replace what I did there. I mean, it was probably one of the most bittersweet days I ever had. And
I bet.
It was tough. I'm usually not a very emotional guy, but I got emotional for sure. I had my family come in my last day in the office, took a picture outside, the cliche, corny image, right? But I'll tell you what, without my immediate family, none of that can even happen, right? The support of them. But it was, I mean, I think what you alluded to, and the thing we tried to do at Clam, All Terrain, Blackfish is we tried to make every single one of our pros feel like they're part of the family.
Right.
We try to make them feel like the name matters more than anything else. We want to know, oh, do you have a dog? Where do you, a lot of our pros come in and we know if they have a dog. We know they come in, we know if they have kids. They come in, we know if they they just caught a big fish. It's not name, not a number, right? So that's what
Right.
we pride ourselves on, and I think that's why the brands like All Terrain Blackfish Clam tick the way they do. I mean, clearly the products are phenomenal, right?
Yep.
The products those brands put out are awesome. We use them, we live them, we breathe them. But there's so much more to this industry in this community of fishing than a jig and a lure and a suit and a rod and a hat and a fish house. Let's call it, it's the people. I mean,
Yeah.
this industry ticks off of relationships and the people, right? So it was easy, dude. It's been a blessing having you on the team, and I'm excited to see where things continue to take you, man. I remember you and I talking about your nonprofit, the podcast. We had a couple conversations years ago, and man, you had this brainchild, and just wishing now, Gene. Tip of the hat to you as well. Kudos,
Appreciate it, man.
nicely done.
Well, and like you said, it's team. It's surrounding yourself with smart, good people. I thinned back all the organizations that I was working with when I was, chasing the stuff myself, and I kept, just like you said, the close, good organizations that I knew the people and could trust them to take care of this whole thing. So, dude, what you were talking about there about the people, living in Minnesota for all those years that I did up there, the fishing community there, it's a culture in and of itself. I mean, we, all of us in the Midwest, oh, here we talk about Minnesota, don't you know? So you got the Minnesota thing, but I'm telling you, and you guys know this, to me, you guys were at the heart of this. The fishing culture, the outdoor culture is its own entity out there, up in the north. We're talking a hearty group of individuals that just flat out love anything outdoors, man, whether it's ice, whether it's duck hunting, whether it's, hunting mushrooms, whether, it doesn't matter. It's part of a complete culture that in you guys at Clam and Blackfish, and you specifically, always kind of, especially your Metro report each week. Oh my God, you don't know how much I relied on that when I was fishing the ABAs. How did is that a product of your guide service? Is that what you pushed that out for?
Yeah, I made this is my 23rd year guiding, and I made a hard effort 10, 15 years ago to really make my focus not about the fish. And that sounds stupid. It does. Hey, man, you're a fishing guide, and you just said you want to make your focus not about the fish. And I say that because I want to make my focus about the education. I want my clients, and I call them all my friends, to leave a day in the boat, a day on the ice, having learned a lot more than when they walked in.
Love that.
And that's not intended for me to come in like I know more than them. I've guided many people that know 10 times more than me. But I always try to sit down and say, what are the 10 things you want to learn today? Or why do you want to book me for a guide trip? If it's just to get a bucket full of bluegills, maybe I'm not your guy. If it's just to get 6 walleyes in the live well, maybe I'm not your guy, But do you want to learn how to drop shot? Do you want to learn how to tie different hooks? Do you want to learn how to use plastics for the first time? Do you want to break down a lake map? I mean, we've taloned down up against a bank before, Gene, for 4 hours and just looked at jig boxes.
Wow.
You make a cast. We've sat in fish houses for hours and looked at our phones to study lake maps, and I've kind of made that my emphasis. So that just naturally progressed into a weekly fishing report. I've always been criticized for maybe giving away more than I should by my peers.
Right.
Oh, you're telling them too much. Oh yeah, this and that. Well, maybe that's why I've never been too darn good at fishing tournaments, because when somebody rolls up to the dock after a day of pre-fishing, they probably know where I'm catching them. Right. Then there's 4 guys on my spot, and I'm like, well, yeah, I earned that. I told those guys at Lord Fletcher's I caught them all on those West Rocks, so that's my own fault. So I just enjoy doing that and making sure people go away with some tidbits, because at the end of the day, whether you play a conventional sport, a ball sport, a stick sport, hockey, baseball, soccer, basketball, at some point in our life, Gene, we're not going to do it too well.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Right.
Unless you're Tom Brady. But at some point, we're not going to do it too well. Well, I know some dudes that are 70 and 80 that kick my butt up and down the dock every day fishing. So it's a lifelong sport. So give everybody these tools to go out there and enjoy this sport, not just for themselves, but also pass that information on to their buddies to help them enjoy this lifelong sport. So that's really what makes me tick at this point.
I love it, man. You know, and that's the thing, is passing the information forward to keep. You know, there's a term that gets thrown around out there, and it's a funny term. I've got a few good, very, very close friends that some of them like it, some of them hate the term, which is, you know, growing the sport. Mm-hmm. Not so much growing the sport as to me, it's sharing, you know, our passion. Yeah. For you know, what is it? Because the sport, sure, it's a fun sport. You know, the tournament fishing, whatever it is, you know, it's got a lot of us hooked, right? But it's truly at the heart of it, it's the passion for the outdoors. It's the hunt. It's the appreciation of this creation that's in front of us, and our inability completely to ever 100% unravel it. It is a different puzzle every day, and I love it. You know, I mean, and so if you can share that passion, then you hope that, you know, something hooks in there, pardon the pun, but you hope that they get hooked the same as we did. And that's the greatest thing. If I can give somebody this expensive habit, you bet, man. That's we've done our job. We can't say we're guides out here in Colorado because they treat guides really, really crazy out here.
I've heard that.
We act like one, except it's in a nonprofit setting, and we don't do it to the public. We don't offer this to the public. We offer it just to, you know, specific people. But we've talked about the fact that we want to operate more like that. Yeah, man, you're, like I said, that weekly report that you used to put out there, I used to just live on that. I was down in Rochester, but all the good fishing was up there by the metro, you know, for us coming up there. And the info, the way you delivered it was always critical. Something else that you got involved in, now you started this thing, if memory serves, is the Ultimate Panfish League. Talk to us about that cool thing.
Yep, we just entered the 23rd year. Our second event of the season was this past Sunday. I started it 23 years ago. It's the longest running ice fishing circuit in our country. We do 4 events a winter. And it's funny because you and I were just talking about tournament fishing and this and why maybe I'm not the best at it for all kinds of reasons. So how the UPL started was my close buddy of mine, Brian Rogers. Now, Brian was my elder by 10 years. Brian, if you're watching, not trying to date you, but he took me under his wing when I was, 23 years ago. We started tournament fishing together, and he had a nice Cresslander boat, and we fished multi-species tournaments, and he was one of the craziest fish heads to this day I've ever met. And we're in a bass tournament, Gene, and the bluegills are spawning, and they're giant on this lake up in northern Minnesota. And we're looking at these bluegills, and we can't catch a bass to save our life. We know we're getting our teeth kicked in. I looked at Brian. I said, "Do you want a bluegill fish?" And he's like, "What? We're in a bass tournament." We ended up bluegill fishing the rest of that bass tournament because these bluegills were so big. And we said to ourselves, why don't we start a year-round panfish league? And the first 2 years of the UPL were actually 10 events, 6 open water and 4 ice fishing.
Wow.
And we learned real quick that nobody in Minnesota wants to pay money to hop into a boat and try to catch bluegills or crappies in the summer for competition. In the winter, they're lining out the door. So we do 4 events. And these teams are phenomenal. They're awesome. They are so good. I would just get my teeth kicked in even on my home waters. These guys and gals figure it out so fast. They bring in their 15 biggest panfish, heaviest weight wins. We pay out the top 5. There's great sponsored prizes. We go live on social media. It's a blast. It's super fun. I just kind of hang out. I'm the resident char up all the cheddar brats you can find in town and feed to the people that want to come hang out. But yeah, the Ultimate Panfish League, pretty darn cool. Something you should check out if people are watching. Even if they don't even live in Minnesota, you can hop on the Ultimate Panfish League Facebook page and watch the weigh-ins live.
Oh, that's awesome. 2
p.m. Central Time on the day that they're happening. You can watch them live and see what these teams bring to the scales. Pretty cool. I enjoy it.
Good stuff, man. Yeah, that's I remember seeing pieces of that. I'm not an ice guy as much as I've tried to be. I have some ice armor. Finally, I've got some, but I use that for the very cold, kayaking days. That extra flotation is just, such a guarantee. And, Yeah, dude. I mean, it's the ultimate, that my ice armor. So I've got the gear for it, and I've got actually a couple ice rods that I bought from from the store there last time I was out there, and I created like some pitching games during Christmas parties with the ice rods. You got to pitch and flip with them, and so that's about as close as I've got. I actually tried some drop shotting on them, going a little bit Josh Douglas there, and trying, looking after some smallies with him.
Yep.
I just, in a kayak, I didn't think about, oh my goodness, I need a lot more room to set a hook, with that than what I have in the kayak.
There's some solid ice fishing out by you in Colorado too.
Got to get up in the mountains a little bit.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got some friends that you mentioned guide that actually do guide out there, and they have explained to me the hoops you have to jump through to pull that off.
Yeah.
But I've seen some of the fish they catch, and I'm pretty envious. But you're right; it's up in elevation, and they catch some phenomenal fish.
Yep. Yeah. Down on the front range, our sun is so potent down here that a lot of times the ice just isn't reliable. I mean, sometimes you can find a few ponds here and there, but yeah, for the most part, you want to get up a little bit into the mountains to get the good stuff.
Makes sense.
So, you between that, another huge event that you do every year, man, that you're the MC for, that I have every year, I try to see if there's a possible way I can get this on my schedule to even get back there, is the Blackfish Classic.
Mm-hmm.
Is that still going to be something that you're going to be involved in moving forward here as well?
Absolutely. They asked me to MC it again, even though I'm no longer working there. And of course I would. I love it. I really enjoy that event. It's always the last Monday in July on Lake Minnetonka. 100 boats. I guide that lake all summer. And I've had people say many times, well, are you going to enter it now that you're not? Because I couldn't fish in it as an employee.
Right.
No, I'm not going to enter it because I'd be just donating my money. Like I fish out there every day, and these guys will kick my butt. Yeah, all my prowess in the tournament world, right? So, no, I'll be there again. It's a blast. The whole company shows out. The whole lake shows out. Lord Fletcher's does a phenomenal job. Some huge bags, super excitement, a lot of fun. We had a pile of participants, fans come watch the participants last year. So it was a buzzing atmosphere in that back parking lot, and yeah, I'll be there again this year. You bet. Looking forward to it.
And that's a team event that they do. There are two guys to a boat, go out, and it's just the 5, or is it 10 fish?
5
fish.
bass, 5 heaviest bass, and it is a shootout. It is the keynote event, I think, here in Minnesota for bass fishing. It's just a one-off. It's not a series, so one-off.
Well, and I mean, I've seen, the 20 plus bags that are coming in, man.
Yeah.
It's nuts from up there. Actually, on Minnetonka is actually where I met Seth Fighter out on the water. Chatted with him for a while. We were both.
Yep.
He was pitching one side of a little canal, and I was pitching the other side, and we passed each other,
Yep.
and sparked up conversation.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a really cool lake. There's lots of it's like a chain of lakes all connected together. It's a really neat deal. Some deep water, some shallow, you name it.
Yeah, Fighterman cut his teeth there. Felix cut his teeth there. Bob Downey spent a lot of time on that lake. I mean, you look at all the guys from Minnesota that are representing us on a really, really large level. They got real good on fishing Lake Minnetonka. Seth might be one of the best Lake Minnetonka bass anglers we ever met. Now, he may be a little rusty now. That ain't me throwing stones. He'd probably still come out of the woodwork tomorrow and beat me. But he was unstoppable. He was unstoppable out there. It was really fun to watch him come up through the ranks and just put a whooping on anyone who thought they were anyone. And that dude could catch them. So yeah, beautiful lake. I've been ice fishing that a lot lately on a guide level. That's where some of these bigger walleyes you've seen me catch on social media, they've been coming from Lake Minnetonka.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Super fishy lake.
So this year, full-time guide now. That's the name of the game.
Yep.
As you move forward here, and that's all you're guiding primarily on Minnetonka, or what's your range there from the metro area?
I'm all over. I try to push 60 miles in Minneapolis.
Okay.
But I tend to find myself going 90 a lot of times. So I'll go wherever. I mean, I revert back to engaging with the customer, the client, the friend, and determining what they want to learn, what they want to get out of a day. And then from there, we pick the lake. Now, I will get anglers that will go, hey, Matt, I want to go out on Minnetonka, I just want to, or hey, I want to go up on East and West Rush, I just want to, or hey, I want to go chase a channel catfish on the horseshoe chain because they know I guide those through the ice. And so I'll get some specific asks, and that's just fine. But I would say more than half my clients are like, hey, I want to book you for a trip. I really want to learn how to fish plastics. No problem. Where are you from? I'm not going to make them drive on the east side of town if they're on the west side of town. So then I try to cater to their needs, and I have a few tricks up my sleeve on all walks of the Twin Cities. So if somebody's on the west side, I probably got a couple lakes where I feel good about. If we're on the north side, south side, east side, you get it. And I also get some clients that are like, take me where you've never been.
Oh, wow.
I want to see what you do. And I
Right.
love those days. Most guides would go, a chance we're going because it's all they just think about the fish, right? The fish, the
Yeah.
fish, the fish. Where I'm like, okay, yeah, let's do it. I'm going to show you how we break down a lake, and we're going to either fall flat on our face together, or we're going to be heroes, and you're going to learn as much as I did today, which is huge. And I really embrace those days. So yeah, full time guiding now, embracing it with both arms. Although these 15-degree below zero days, the super glue in my hands, I'm sure would appreciate it if it got a little warmer here. So,
So I was just down in Texas for some training with Heroes on the Water, learning how to build rods down there. When
sure.
I was in San Antonio area, and good night. It started raining and it got to 40 degrees, and I swear, literally, the group I was with, they were planning for things to be shut down the following day, man, because of that. That 40 degrees had them. They were convinced things were going to freeze up and just lock up, and the town wasn't going to move. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm still wearing a hoodie, man. I mean, that's
Yeah.
we haven't even busted anything out yet, and yeah, it was just a different deal up there up north. Even around the Twin Cities, there it's a different brand of cold too. It gets so dry there though in the wintertime. People don't realize that, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
because the moisture freezes, man. It's you
Mm-hmm.
don't get the humidity. Wait till summertime, then you'll be your sweat will be sweating,
Oh yeah.
out
Yeah.
there.
I heard someone the other day made a comment that New Orleans had more snow than Fargo, North Dakota, the other day
Crazy.
when they got that snowfall. Because I heard there was a few inches that went down that direction, and we don't have any snow up here. You can drive a two-wheel drive car anywhere on the lakes around here, and there's a dusting. I mean,
Wow.
it's February this weekend, and we have no snow here in Minnesota once again, and they're calling for I think Thursday like 48 degrees.
Wow.
So it's going to drop off again next week, but I think I saw like 48 degrees in the Twin Cities this Thursday.
That's
Which,
kayak. We could get out in the kayak with that.
oh yeah, but
For
it is
sure.
what it is.
That's awesome stuff, man. Yeah, so the metro area, have you been seeing it just to cuz I remember when I right before I left, the metro area, the lakes were getting just blasted with tournaments, man. Every week there was something, there was like almost every night of the week there was something going on there. And I felt like as I was fishing the ABA and we were hitting several of those metro area lakes up there, it felt like to me that the fishing was dropping off. The pressure was really starting to come through. How has it been looking here recently, in the past couple of years? I haven't been back, to fish that area since 21. So it's
Yeah,
been about 4 years, but it's is the how are the fisheries doing out there? Are they hanging on there? Are they bouncing back? Is it? I mean, because it is cyclical, right?
yeah. I would say that the tournaments are still happening.
Yep.
I would say in defense of the tournament scene, I think they're getting better at managing the tournaments. Not like the infrastructure of the tournament, but like being respectful to the resource, picking lakes that don't overlap with seven other tournaments on the same body of water.
Yep.
I think kudos to one, the tournament directors. They're all playing nice.
That's
I've
awesome.
gotten to know a lot of them. They're all phenomenal people. They really care about the big picture. Big kudos to our DNR, our county parks, and our county representatives that are managing permits and that kind of stuff. I think there's a lot of synergies going on. I don't think you're seeing it becoming a deterrent as much. I also think you're seeing anglers educate themselves a little more on fish care, better
Mm,
live wells in their boats, all this kind of stuff. I think you're seeing uh, diversity in how they fish. Now you can call it forward-facing sonar, you can call it tools, you can call it whatever, but I think anglers are getting more efficient on how they fish too. So I know, like even for like the Blackfish Classic, we do a middle of the summer bass tournament, right? Our death rate is going down. Talking bass, our what we're finding for dead fish every year is getting less and less and less because we're partnering with the right people, bringing on better tanks, better water management systems, and I think other organizations are doing the same thing. They're really trying to push the needle to make sure that the tournament scene in Minnesota isn't a black eye on fishing,
that's
where
good.
it's seen as a better opportunity. So I think you're also seeing some of these bigger circuits with 75 boats, 50 boats kind of diminish, and you're seeing more of these like Tuesday night derbies pop up
Yeah.
where 10, 15 boaters show up for 4 hours in the evening. They're not beating the snot out of a specific lake. They're just going there having some fun, and I don't know, it's kind of grassroots again. So um, I think the tournament scene's a good thing up here. I don't think it's a bad thing as long as it continues to do what it's
Yep.
doing in the right way it's doing it.
That's awesome, man. And that kind of brings me to the last question I really, really had for you here. There's all the big buzz and the big talk. Obviously it's been going on. The horse, every time we think the horse is dead, a heartbeat happens again and some other version of the conversation comes up. From a guide aspect, how much has forward facing sonar affected, your job out there? Has it helped you? Has it made you more efficient? Is it, kind of here and there? What, from your perspective, what's been its impact?
Forward facing sonar is an animal itself, and I definitely don't get in the weeds on it and do the argument thing. I don't think it's worth it. I got more important things to worry about.
Right.
I still think from a higher level, it's still our job to not abuse the tool, right? Uh, just because the tool gives you the ability to maybe catch more fish, find fish faster. People say, "Oh, you're gonna ruin the lakes. All the crappies are gonna be taken out of these lakes now in the winter." Well, it's still the angler's job to not over harvest the resource. So I still firmly believe in that. From a guide perspective, it's allowed me to be more efficient. It's allowed me to cut less holes, especially as an ice fishing guide. I can cut one hole, scan, go, they're not here. Now, another part of me really hates that. I like the thrill, the chase. I like the not knowing what's in the next hole. Punch or grid of holes, give your client a flasher, and say, "Let's go. We're gonna put equity today." Now I just know. I also think it's given some people, and I don't mean to make to this sound egotistical, but it's given some people the ability to really get ahead. Where for many years, as an ice fishing guide, especially, I knew a lot of people didn't want to do what it takes to be an ice fishing guide. They don't want to burn through 2 tanks of auger gas and cut 200 holes and stay on top of these fish. Well, now they don't have to. So it's kind of a bummer because for 18 of my 23 years, man, I had to just it felt like preseason football. You're cutting so many holes, you're moving so much, you're running, you're chasing, you're dodging. Now, if you have the money and the resources, you can just get the live scope. You can go out to the basin, you can cut your hole, you can spin it and go, nothing here. Let's go 100 feet down. And then you sit there and go, man, it's kind of giving everybody the upper hand. So,
Right.
but from my perspective, forward facing sonar is a learning tool for me. I don't use it to catch a lot of fish in the boat. Whole different conversation. In the boat, I'll catch a lot of fish with forward facing sonar.
Yeah.
Ice fishing, I use it to find the schools, and then to be honest, Gene, it's probably going to stay in that same hole, and I'm going to cut holes, and we're going to still get after it.
That's
But I'm
awesome.
more strategic on where I cut those holes. So I think it's a good tool if it's used in the right way, just like a lot of things. I think it can be used to get more younger kids involved in fishing again because we have seen a decline in the last few years. They are getting more addicted to social media, their phones, Xbox, all the other garbage. Now, even my kids, right away, they want to look at the active target. Right away, they want to look at that forward facing sonar. What's going on, Dad? And I look at them get excited about fishing.
Right.
So there's some silver lining. There's some positives in it. We just have to continue as promoters to bang that drum,
I
to,
love
to
it.
to leverage that as a positive attribute of forward facing sonar and not the negative stuff we're seeing all over media. We can spin it the way we want to spin it. But at the end of the day, you can use it for good.
Yep. Yeah, and and that's isn't that the truth? I mean, everything out there. I was just talking. I had a guest on not too long ago that he's a U.S. Marine veteran, and he was talking about one of the things he loves about social media is how he has a group chat of 30 some odd Marines that he served with, and it's like, boy, you don't hear that often, a good thing about social media, but it's like you get out of it what you put forward, and I guess forward facing, I had it, I sold it, I fished all last year without it. And I'm going to be back in it this year, only for the purpose, to be honest with you, it won't really change the way I fish on tournament days, so much as to say just keep me a little bit more efficient, whether or not, I'll be able to tell if that bush is still got fish in it or not,
Yeah.
a lot faster than, banging my jig through the limbs like I used to, multiple times there. And of course, and then when we're taking people out, it's important that we get them on fish quickly so I can hunt them out with this a little bit faster. But
Yeah.
I will never be that guy that, as much as I love core tackle, I love those guys, Matt and Johnny. I'd love to hover rig the hell out of a few things, but it's just not my thing, man.
Yeah.
No, I'd rather drag a football jig through the weeds or through the rocks and call it a day that way.
Yeah. I mean, forward facing sonar, I always tell people in the boat, I think its biggest advantage, for me anyway, is I know exactly how far to make my cast to the piece of structure. To me, that's its biggest advantage.
I love it.
And maybe people are saying, Matt, you're an idiot or you're lying. It's the honest to God truth. Like, I can look at my clients that are standing next to me and be like, you're 40 feet from that weed line. And whether I see fish in the weeds or not, oftentimes you don't. We have a lot of coontail in Minnesota, as you know. You don't see anything inside that coontail. It's like razor wire. But I can tell them 50 feet. And then you also educate them real quick on how none of us know how far 50 feet is.
Especially not on the water.
Oh, that's 80. Dude, you just launched it. So you really use it again as a learning tool. And I think the distance constraints, understanding that tool alone really helps you become a better angler.
I love it. I love it. Last thing here. This one's always, I love seeing this. You're still with Mr. Twister, are you not?
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, that's just not a name you hear that often. And every time I see you, I think of this, because if you look at my boat, you will see I got me some grub tails in there, because every now and again, dude, it is, to me, it's one of the, I actually will put them as trailers on swim jigs.
Oh, yeah.
When I want that, specific kind of reaction out of it, if I don't want a paddle tail, I want that little, twirl coming through there. It adds just a little bit more displacement on there. But Mr. Twister, talk to us about that real fast here before I let you go.
Yeah. They were one of my first sponsors. They took me on when I was 18 years old. I'll be 42 here in May.
Wow.
I don't know if there's anybody on their pro staff other than maybe Dietz Dietrich. I don't know if you remember Dietz.
I know the name. Yeah.
Was a bass. I've said this many times, and all of the guys in Minnesota don't hate me. Dietz might be the best bass angler I've ever met in the state of Minnesota. He just was never given the same opportunities, or even, I take that back. He never took the chance to get those opportunities. He didn't care enough. He's a very selfless human being. Dietz got me on board a long, long time ago during the fishingminnesota.com forum days.
Wow.
Social media didn't even exist. And they've been with me ever since. And I mean, do I use other plastics from time to time? Of course I do. Do I use other things? Of course, they get that. But they're tried and true. I've always believed in integrity. That's a huge thing for me. And the people at that brand are wonderful people, family owned. It's one of those like things where when you're a little kid and you walk into a bait store, you probably picked up a thing of Mr. Twister tails, right? So there's some nostalgia there too. Really cool brand. And they're figuring it out more and more every year. I mean, they're going to have salt impregnated baits again this year coming out in different styles. So
wow.
From the bass fishing world, they're continuing to make plastics and styles and shapes and colors that everybody wants too. So they're not grandpa's plastic. So
right.
Yeah, super cool brand. Very proud to be a part of them for as long as I've been doing this guide thing, 23 years.
Well, and I hope I can share a similar story. For the past couple of years, I've had the opportunity to join with Eagle Claw, that's based out of here, out of Denver, and they were gracious enough to bring me on their team, and that's, I feel they're one of those legacy companies too, man. I mean,
100%.
from being a kid, the first Snell hooks and the red and white bobbers, I mean, that's just the stuff that we, that we grew up with there. And so, yeah, I'm hoping, in another 10 years or so, I can be telling good stories like this, that you're telling there, that we're still out there trying to get after it. Isn't that the hope? Well, listen, man, I know you got a house full of folks trying to deal with, the sickness out there, the crud laying around. So we're going to go ahead and let you, yeah, we're going to let you get out of here. Absolutely, just the best possible vibes and wishes from all of us, man, for your new venture moving forward. I'm not gonna lie, when I saw that, it scared the hell out of me. I'm like, whoa, what's this mean? Because you were the gatekeeper, brother. I mean, you're the guy that set the stage there. But we love clam, we love blackfish, we love all terrain. We're sticking with them. We're looking forward to introducing the people we take out to their products and these organizations. So we'll keep that, trucking forward. But
yep.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be fun watching out there. Folks, make sure to go subscribe on Facebook. It's MJ Outdoors. Instagram is MJ Fishing Outdoors. This is the content. I mean, not just Minnesota stuff. This is fishing, ice fishing, outdoors recipes, dude. You are like chef level stuff that you're throwing out. Yeah. I get ideas there too on the cooking thing. Did you go to school for that or no?
No. COVID hit and we got stuck at home for a period of time. And the first thing my wife and I got was a Traeger from a buddy.
Hell yeah.
And that's an addiction on a whole nother level. And it's a tasty addiction. It's fun. It's challenging. I probably like to smoke meat and cook and do that stuff. Well, no, not as much as fishing, but it's not that far behind. It's very enjoyable.
It is. And I'll say, after my wife got me a few years ago when I was still in Minnesota, she got me a Traeger for Father's Day. And dude, you would have to really work hard to mess something up on these things. These things are bulletproof.
Oh yeah.
They take care of the food. They make it awesome. And yeah, you can get as creative as you want. And the Traeger, she takes care of the rest for you. Pretty good stuff.
Absolutely.
Well, listen, man, you guys stay on the mend. Keep going there. Best of luck. Be safe. Stay on this side of the ice.
Of course.
Because, I watch you guys out there and it makes me colder. I grab the hot cocoa and fuzzy bunny slippers, dude.
We'll be safe. We're good.
Awesome stuff. Well, we'll be looking forward to following along. And maybe as you guys getting closer to, are you all done with the Ultimate Pan Fishing League for this year?
2 more events. We got one coming up February 9th and one March 2nd. So 2 more left.
Cool. Well, we'll be looking for that and following along, see what are 15 bluegill weigh. We'll look to see what that looks like, what a big bag of bluegill looks like coming out of there. I'll challenge some of my guys out here to see if, because they like to ice fish. So see if they can match it.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, you take care. Stay warm up there. And as always, tight lines, brother.
You too. Thanks, Gene.
You
See
bet.
you guys.
Take care. All right, folks, that's going to wrap it up for our interview there. Before we let you go here tonight, I did want to start doing. We had a great suggestion from one of our team guys. Brought this up here, and that each week when we go live here, we want to do a quick update on the TPO, different things we have going on. Now, normally we'll give you some updates on the trips that we're booking out and that we're setting up and doing, because we're going to be doing a lot more this year as we have some great funding that has come in from our fundraising campaign, which is Operation Holy Waters. That's come through and done a great job for us. So we've been able to get a good operating budget for the year. So we've been booking a bunch of trips, getting that stuff lined up. I can tell you right now, we should be doing, our objective is to be doing weekly events at Stanley Lake Regional Park. We're partnering with them in the city of Westminster. This is a phenomenal park and a phenomenal lake, great fishing. Can be had in there. It can be tough, but if you know what you're doing in there, there is some really good quality fish in there. It is pretty much a wakeless body of water. There are no boats. It's just hand launch and kayaks and stand up and john boats, things of that nature, stand-up paddle boards. That's all that's on it. So it's a great, safe environment. We'll be doing weekly events there. That's our goal. Worst case, bi-weekly we'll be doing. On top of that, we've got several other big events that we've got planned up right now. We're going to be going to Nebraska for a great trip. We're going over there to Elwood Reservoir. We're either going to work with some local vets in that area. We'll bring the trailer in, bring the new canoe unlimiteds. We'll drop those in there. We're also going to be going to Norton, Kansas. We're going to be coming in that area there. And again, if we get a local connection, we'll grab a couple of vets or first responders from that area and we'll take them out kayak fishing. If not, we'll bring some folks from Colorado. Norton, Keith Sebelius Lake is phenomenal fishery, so we'll be going there. We're also going to be heading up to Wyoming to Gray Rocks Reservoir. And we've got a couple folks in mind for that one already. So we're going to try to set up for that. And what these are Friday, Saturday, Sunday events. We get up there Friday, get everything locked in, go fishing Saturday, a little bit of Sunday, and then we come home. Good campfire, a lot of bonding taking place there, and we're gonna hang out and create some memories here, and hopefully create some connections that wouldn't normally be there. So that's a lot of the stuff that we've got as far as the trips go, and as far as those are concerned. Other things that we have in the works for the TPO right now, we've got some phenomenal opportunities coming up on the fundraising side. We'll be we got some paperwork to get filled out and get a few things locked in, but we could be doing some volunteering, working at CU on the CU campus to earn money for the TPO. So that could be a pretty cool deal that we have coming through there. And our supporters, man, the supporting organizations that have gathered around us. We've locked in some deals where with Eagle Claw, they're going to be supporting a lot of the work that we do, and we're going to have some great photography and videography coming in from Eagle Claw at some of our events. That we're going to have laid down there. Militia Marine, New Canoe. They're going to be a new kayak dealer. They're already an established boat dealer, and now they're getting into the kayak game with New Canoe as their primary brand. So we're going to be working with them quite a bit. Of course, all-terrain tackle, blackfish, clam. We'll be working with those guys as we move forward, and we're locking in a few other deals as we speak as well, to just to make sure that these are fantastic events, that we have product, we have the gear that folks need, because after they come out with us, we want to send them back with the tools they need to get back out there and engage the outdoors, man. That's the whole point of what we're doing here with the TPO on this. Last but not least, the thing I want to remind you, if you know of a veteran, a first responder, active duty, family member, and you haven't spoken to them in quite a while, reach out to them, touch base with them, do a buddy check is what we call it. Reach out and see how they're doing, folks. That's couldn't impress that more if I tried. And just keep up on that. Make sure these folks are reminded on the daily how much we appreciate them, how much they are important to us, and that there is a bigger purpose going on out there, and that we love them and care for them. Just make sure, take 5-10 minutes out of your day, man, and do a buddy check out there. That's it's a key great deal. All of this is towards bringing down that Stop 22, and to helping to deal with the veteran suicide issue that we have in this country right now. We want to bring that number down until there are none. All right, folks, that's going to do it. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Next week, not really sure what we have on. I'd have to look at my schedule here, but next week we'll be live again. Actually, I do know who it is. We're going to try to have all of the anglers from Colorado that went down to Havasu to compete in the Bassmaster Kayak National Series there at Havasu. Some of them had some great outings. A couple of them had some, drove the struggle bus a little bit. But you know what? It was the experience alone, and that's what we want to talk with them about. So we're going to get as many of those folks that went down there on the show with us at the same time, and we're going to talk about Havasu, talk about their experience going down there. And it's been a long time since Bassmaster came out west, man. So that was pretty interesting to see. I've got some opinions on that we'll talk about. But yeah, it's going to be a great show next Tuesday night here. Heroes Media Group, man, big shout out to those guys, Adam Bird and all the other podcast brothers and sisters out there that keep the stuff going. Go check them out, Heroes Media Group, and check out all the great podcasts that they have flowing around out there. Last but not least, before I leave you here, this weekend, in a few days, we are heading to just south of Lincoln, Omaha, Nebraska. We're heading there to the Kayak Jacks Sportsman's Expo that's going on. They have invited us there. We've got a booth set up where the TPO will be on hand so we can spread the mission, talk about the work that we do, and see if we can, obviously continue our reach there in the Nebraska area to get out there and do some work in that neck of the woods more. And then they've asked us to talk a little bit about at one of the presentations. I'm going to be joining Mr. Rick Valdez up on stage, and we're going to be talking to some folks about thinking about that are interested in getting into competitive fishing. What it takes to get into competitive fishing. So it should be a great time. That's going on this weekend. If you're anywhere in the Nebraska area or in that surrounding couple hours out, come on by and see us. It's going to be a great expo, going to be a great outing, amazing people there. Marty Hughes, legend, OG of our sport, pioneer of our sport, and just an all-around great human being. Going to be awesome to be a part of that deal there. All right, folks, that's going to do it. That's going to wrap up everything for us. As always, you know the drill. Tight lines. Be safe.